Little confession to make, I've never actually owned a pair of Nike AirJordan shoes. I always found that they were too expensive. I did own some Nike shoes growing up. So, what did I think about this new movie, Air, the newest Nike sports drama film to hit theaters? Well, stick around and find out. Air follows the history of shoe salesman Sonny and how he led Nike in its pursuit of the greatest athlete in the history of basketball, Michael Jordan. The film stars Matt Damon, Jason Bateman, Ben Affleck, Chris Messina, Viola Davis, Chris Tucker, and many others, and was directed by Ben Affleck, and you know him as an actor, and he also has directed films like Argo and The Town. So upon seeing Air, I did actually watch a trailer for this film, and my first thought after watching the trailer was, how are we going to make a movie about shoes, about Nike specifically, in almost a 2-hour movie? But then I saw the cast that was attached to it, and I was very interested, and Ben Affleck directed The Town, which is one of my favorite movies. If we're making probably like a top 50 movies of all time, The Town would definitely be in it. It's an awesome movie, and I definitely recommend that movie if you've never checked it out before. But I digress from talking about that movie. Let's talk about Air. So Air tells the story about Sonny, an employee at Nike, and he is trying to land the next big basketball star to sponsor Nike shoes, and Michael Jordan is the one that he wants to land. So he doesn't have a lot of money to work with, and Nike, they are definitely on the low totem pole. The story about them being on the low totem pole here, they really need to bring in a big star to really land them on the map. During this time in the 80s, Converse and Adidas were very much the top dogs in the shoe business, and Nike was very much well behind. And Sonny, played by Matt Damon, is taking on this responsibility of trying to land the next big star. And you see him on screen really trying really hard to convince the CEO, played by Ben Affleck, to really give him the money and really believe in his vision and his idea to land Michael Jordan. So majority of this movie really is him trying to convince a lot of the people at Nike to actually buy into his ideal to actually land Michael Jordan. And of course, he goes behind their back and he goes to check out the mother of Michael Jordan and visit their house and try to reel in Michael Jordan. And he does that by being very real, very honest, and being very much interested in Michael Jordan. One of the things that really does carry this film and make it a very great film is just the acting and the performances overall. Ben Affleck as the CEO, Sonny played by Matt Damon, his relentless attitude to want to actually try to make Nike be the top dog. You have Chris Tucker here that provides a lot of humor, and it was great to see him on screen again because I really know him from Rush Hour. So after watching this film, it really wanted me to go revisit Rush Hour, and I think Chris Tucker, he was perfect for the comedic kind of role that he was playing. Jason Bateman, I love that he was on screen. He really did provide a really good role here, and I think everybody here contributes very well to this film. The way that this film is aligned and the way that they shot this film, it definitely has that 80s style vibe to it. You have a lot of 80s music, a ton of hits throughout this film, and I really like that we had that incorporation of that 80s music. It didn't feel like it was overkill. It felt like every time we got into different scenes, we had some 80s jam, and I was definitely rocking out in the theater, and it was great to have that soundtrack really incorporate with the 80s vibe. Most of this movie really does centralize on Sonny just really kind of talking to his buddies and trying to find a way to really land Michael Jordan. And when he does visit Viola Davis, the mother of Michael Jordan, he basically is trying to convince her to just give Nike a chance. Now, even though this does centralize on Michael Jordan, it really doesn't really focus on Michael Jordan, and they actually don't show Michael Jordan's face throughout this movie. I can't remember who even played Michael Jordan because he doesn't have any spoken dialogue in here. I'm not sure why that choice was made, but for whatever reason, they didn't have him speak in here. And it really doesn't really highlight his career. It does have some different video clips that shows him as a player on the Bulls, which was really cool, but it doesn't really have any basketball action. It just has some video clips of basketball. So if you're looking for a movie that does really focus on the basketball portion, you're really not going to see that in this movie. But one thing that I really did like the focus that this movie really does go into is the graphic detail and the design of the Nike Air shoe. Now, even though I think in general that Nike Air shoes are way too expensive, they are designed very well, and I really liked how they really went over and beyond for Michael Jordan, making a shoe of his own and really believing in him as a player. And even in this movie, though I thought was really extraordinary, and I believe that it is true, I don't think it was made up, is the fact that when they were making the shoe, that they were willing to actually pay the fines for Michael Jordan. They were actually believing in him and willing to take on that risk to pay fines because of the different colors of the shoe that the NBA said that they couldn't have. I found the dialogue of the movie to be very sharp and witty, and I found that it wasn't very much overly written, and I found that the dialogue was very engaging with the characters. And also I liked that they didn't really bog down on business talk, legalities, and things that would be more so really boring, like the contract details, and getting to be a very convoluted kind of talk throughout the film. Because if you have something like this, it could be a little bit boring if you really bog down on contract details and a lot of things that the audience wouldn't really understand. And they do a really good job of actually avoiding that and just sticking to a general plot here that people can really understand, know what's going on, and at the same time, you're rooting for an underdog shoe company here to really just go for it and really just be successful. Being a story of an underdog like this come to be a very big company now that we all know, it's very cool to see on screen, and I had a blast actually watching this. As far as negatives for this film goes, I really don't have any. I did mention earlier that Michael Jordan really isn't shown in this movie. He doesn't have any dialogue. I guess that would be a negative to some, but I really didn't really care about that, as the story is mainly on Nike actually being an up-and-coming company, and it's a very cool underdog story, and it's a very well-acted movie, a very well-shot movie, and a very well overly fun movie that really does pack with a punch of 80s music. And if you really like that, I really think that you'll enjoy this movie. It's a very engaging movie, and I think you guys will absolutely love it. I would give a score of this film a 5 out of 5, an excellent movie, and as of right now, this is my #1 movie of the year. We'll see where it ends up at the end of the year, but thank you guys for watching this review. Let me know in the comments what you thought about this movie. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Was it just kind of meh? If you haven't seen this movie, are you going to check it out? Thank you guys for watching this review, and I will see you guys on my next review.